In this video, I wanted to give a quick update on a couple of improvements that that have been done to the change impact card. Now, this is the a very simple configuration that I have demonstrated in one of the previous videos as well. Now, and this was the simple card that was available at the time. Now, what we have done is, apart from these simple analysis or the changes that are depicted here, now this quad could be expanded. Now, when you expand it, you could very well see all the different services that have been impacted by the changes. And these are again the same statistics that we have shown before. But now we have incorporated a couple of more tabs into this particular improvement, where now this in particular this topology tab basically illustrates what the change what impact has the changes have had on the topology of the microservices system. Now here what this basically lists is what changes have happened, or what has happened to the dependencies between the different services in the microservice system. Now here we could see that, for example, all these colors have been color coded to show that, for example, if you take UI test service as an example, there has been no change to the dependency between UI test and the admin basic info. No change to the dependency between the UI test and the admin order as well. Now, if you take the admin basic service and the UI test, now that has the dependency between them has actually changed. Now, if you similarly go through, you could see the green ones are basically to show new dependencies that weren't existing before, but has now been added compared to the base. Now in here, there could be that there has been a new dependency created between admin basic info and the admin user services. Now similarly, if you scroll through, you could see that all the different dependencies are shown, and you could apart from those which has not been changed and has been changed and new being created, you would also see what are the dependencies that has been removed as well. Now in here, for example, the common service, the dependency which existed before between the common service and the UI test service has been removed in this version of the system, which means now the common service and the UI test are currently independent. Now, if you see any of these tiles which are not either gray, yellow, green, or red, this means that there haven't been any dependency between them before in the history in the previous version, and there are no dependency in the current version as well. So which means, for example, consigned service and admin order service have had not any dependency between them in the previous version as well as in the current version as well. Now that's the topological matrix and how you could be interpreting that. Now if you go to the heat map, now this is a multi-parameter heuristic calculation which basically scores how much of an impact these the different changes have had on each other, especially when it comes to the dependent services. Now you could see that there has been changes to the dependency and within the services in the UI test as well as the admin basic info service, which results it to have a score of 0.1. Now the scale is between 0 and 1, and therefore any score which is closer to 1 implies that there could be significant or important changes that has occurred in between these two services. Now if you go to any of these red ones, which are pretty much heuristically determined to be critical changes which might have implications on the system. And now if you go to one of them on top of any of these tiles, you could see that what are the risk factors and based on the evidence of changes that we already know from the change impact analysis, and which is basically being listed here. And you could also see um, what how much of a risks there could potentially be. Now, I have to mention that this is not final. Um, this is basically only a very um, um, uh, a score which is not to be final, and this further analysis is required for um, exact root cause analysis and potentially any changes. And this is why you have AGIS as a separate service. So this is basically to prompt the user to or guide the user in the direction of doing such extensive analysis. Now, like the red tiles, there are yellow tiles as well, which basically signifies there are changes but might not exactly be breaking or critical changes. Now, there could be green ones as well, which would imply that the change may not have major impact as well. Now, if you compare this to the two versions that I'm comparing here, the older version is actually deleting a lot of things, and therefore this is correctly finding out that there could be major significant impact on the services, dependent services especially. Now, finally, we have the AI insights. So what this does is, if you click on the generate risk analysis, this will basically will provide all the evidences that have captured from the change impact analysis and run it through an LLM to basically provide very quick and easy to understand um, a very short report of the entire system based on those evidences. Now, this is the result that we got, and as you can see that TS common service has been identified as an anti-pattern, and therefore removal of it and the AI or the LLM has actually recognized that the removal of it has or the removal of dependencies might have actually impacted a lot of services, which might be critical. So and therefore recommends that the QA effort might need to be put into those dependencies and whatever the methods and services which would have been dependent on the TS common service as well. Now, so this is the improvement that we have done, and which is aimed at helping out with further analysis and guiding pipeline creation from that point on.